Hello students, in the previous class we discussed about Rutherford's model of an atom. Today we shall discuss about the limitations of a Rutherford model of atom. What are limitations? Limitations are some disadvantages or any defects are called limitations. Now, what Rutherford said is, he said that electron revolves around the nucleus in definite orbits. That's why it is also called as planetary model of an atom. Now the question arises that if electron moves continuously around the nucleus, it must be in acceleration. Okay, an accelerated particle which is in the circular motion should radiate energy. It must radiate energy. If it radiates energy, electron loses energy and eventually it will fall into the nucleus. If it falls into the nucleus, the positive and negative charges collide and there will not be any existence of an atom. So, Rutherford could not explain the reason why electron will enter in reason why the atom exists in spite of electron radiating energy continuously. If it radiates energy continuously, it will fall into the nucleus. This limitation was covered by another scientist called Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr said that electrons revolve around the nucleus in certain stationary orbits called energy levels. The energy of each orbit is fixed. He said that energy of each orbit is fixed, and these orbits are called energy levels or shells. Now, whenever electron moves in these orbits, he said that it will not give out energy. It will not give any energy. Since it does not give any energy, it will not lose energy and it will continuously revolve around the nucleus in these orbits. So, these orbits are energy levels. Now, whenever electron moves from whenever electron gains energy, it will move from lower energy shell to higher energy levels. Whenever it releases energy, it will jump from higher energy level to lower energy level. Now, these shells, as I told you, are energy levels. He said that electrons move in this energy level, just like, let us say, between two shells, you can keep the books, but you cannot keep the books in between the shelves. You can keep it in the gap in the shells, which is separated by a slab or something. Under that you have one more shelf. So, here also electrons also move in definite energy levels. He restricted the path of electron, saying that electron moves in definite energy levels. Now, first point that he said was electrons revolve around the nucleus in energy levels. Second point he said was whenever they are moving in these energy levels, they do not radiate energy. Third thing that he said was these orbits, he gave a particular number for these orbits. He called first orbit as n is equal to 1, second as n is equal to 2, third orbit as n is equal to 3, fourth orbit as n is equal to 4. This n indicates the size and energy of the orbit. Now, n is equal to 1 means it has certain amount of size and energy, n is equal to 2 means it has a certain size and energy, n is equal to 3 also has certain size and energy, and so on. Or you can represent it with letters K, L, M, N and so on. So, he gave particular names for these energy levels. Now, so what is the third point? He gave certain values for the energy levels 1, 2, 3 and so on. So, this is about Bohr's model. During Bohr's time, and during Rutherford's time only electrons and protons were known. It was only after 1932 James Chadwick discovered neutron. They found out that through various activities, various experiments, the entire mass is concentrated in the center. So neutrons and protons are in the nucleus, where electrons revolve around the nucleus. That is what has been put forth by the scientists. Next topic is, if electrons are moving around the shells, how many number of electrons can we fit into each shell? For this, Bohr-Bury gave some rules. The maximum number of electrons that can be fit in a energy level is 2n square. Suppose if you want to know the number of electrons in the first shell, put n is equal to 1 here. So what you get, 2 into 1 square, that is 2. If you want to know number of electrons in the second shell, put n is equal to 2. So you get 2 into 2 square. This is 2 into 4, which is 8. You want to know number of electrons in the third level, 2 into 3 square, 2 into 9, that is 18. So maximum electrons you can fill in third shell is 18. Maximum number of electrons that you can fill in second shell is 8. Maximum number of electrons that you can fill in first shell is 2. Regarding, this is the first rule put forth by scientists Bohr and Bury. Let us see the next rule that they gave. Energy level of electrons is further divided into subshells. Now, these energy levels are further divided into subshells. It is divided into subshells. These subshells are called, these subshells can have maximum of 8 electrons in it. It is like you have a floor. On a floor there are number of flats. Okay, if you think energy level as a floor, then you can imagine these subshells as flats in that floor where people live. So here also electrons, no doubt they are present in the energy level, but they are there in the subshells. Each subshell can have maximum of 8 electrons. That is the second rule. Electrons can be filled in a given shell unless the inner shells are completely filled. Now, it is like first shell electrons will be filled first, next shell electrons will be, second shell electrons will be filled next, third shell electrons will fill after the second shell electrons are filled. That is, for the filling up of electrons, the inner electrons have to be filled first, inner shells have to be filled first, next it goes to the higher energy levels. For example, oxygen atomic number is 8. First shell we can fit how many electrons? 2 electrons as per the formula 2n square. Remaining 6 electrons will fill in the next shell. This is how the filling up of electron takes place as per Bohr-Bury's rule. So that's about today's class, children. We shall continue in the next class.